Hello students, today I will start a new topic, that is respiratory assessment. So in your syllabus there is assessment of respiratory system. So how we have to assess the patient respiratory system, and what are the indication for assessing the respiratory system, and what are the things we have to remember when we have to perform the respiratory system. These all things we have discussed in this class. So first we have to discuss about the short review of anatomy and the physiology of respiratory system. The respiratory tract, it will be extend from the nose to alveoli, and includes not only the air conducting passages also but the blood supply. Means the respiratory tract, you all know about the anatomy and physiology, but I will just explain, or I will just review the anatomy and physiology of this respiratory system. So in that we all know about the respiratory system, which will be extends from the nose to the alveoli, and it include not only the air conducting. Means in the respiratory system, it not included only the air conducting system, but it will be also connected with the blood supply. Then the primary purpose of the respiratory system is gas exchange. Means it will be the function of the respiratory system is the gas exchange. In our body there will be two gases which will be means in our body the major two gases which will be exchanges, which involves the transfer of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the atmosphere and the blood. So in this we know that we have to inhale the oxygen and we have to exhale the carbon dioxide. So how it will be maintained? So the primary purpose of the respiratory system is to maintain the system of the gas exchange. So in that the oxygen which will be inhaled and the carbon dioxide which will be exhaled between the and it will be maintained by the atmospheric pressure and the blood. The respiratory system, it will be divided in two parts. So there will be upper respiratory system and the lower respiratory system or lower respiratory tract. So the upper respiratory system or the upper respiratory tract, it includes, the first is the nose. So this is nasal cavity. Then next is the pharynx. Then next is the adenoids. Then next is the tonsils, and the epiglottis which will be present here. Then the larynx which will be present here, and trachea which will be present in this area. So this is about the upper respiratory tract. Then the lower respiratory tract consists of bronchi, bronchioles, alveoli duct, and the alveoli. With the exception of the right and left main stem bronchi, all lower airway structures are contained within the lungs. So with the exception of the right and left main stem bronchi, all airway structures are contained. Means exception of the right or left main stem bronchi, all lower airway structures, this will be contained with the lungs. Means it will be comes under the contents within the lungs, but the right and left main stem bronchi, it will be exceptional cases. Then the right lung is divided into three lobes. You all know that the lung which will be also divided in lobes. So the right lung which will be divided in three lobes. First is the upper, middle and lower. And the left lobe which will be divided into only two lobes. There will be upper and lower. The structure of the chest wall, in this you will see the ribs, pleura, muscle of the respiration are also essential. So here you will see that the lobes which will be present in the right or left. So in this you will see this is upper lobe, this is middle lobe, and this one is the lower lobe. But in left you will see the upper lobe and lower lobe, only two lobe which will be present in the lungs. Then this is also uh, um, anatomy or the structure. So in this you will see means how the in this you will see this is the nasal cavity, this is right main stem bronchus, this one is the bronchus, this is a segmental bronchi, so this one is the bronchi. And here you will see, that the terminal bronchi. So in terminal bronchi you will be able to see that here the arrows which will be seeing that it will be divided in alveoli, and this is called as a alveolar duct, and this is respiratory bronchioles. So this is called as a respiratory bronchioles, this is alveoli, and this one is the alveolar duct. So here you will see this is the carina. So this one is the carina. So through the carina, the here you will see there will be cilia and the dust particles, mucus or goblet cells which will be present. Means in this way the means through the nasal cavity sometimes the dust particles which will be also enter into enter into our respiratory system. So in this you will see here the dust particles, means when we will inhale the dust, in that time it will be through the nasal cavity, it will be enter into our respiratory system. So this is mucus, this is cilia, and this is the goblet cell. Then what is the physiology of respiration? So in physiology you will see ventilation. So ventilation involves inspiration. Inspiration means movement of air into the lungs, means when we will inhale the oxygen, that is called as a inspiration. And expiration means movement of air out of the lungs, when the carbon dioxide which will be out from the lungs, that is called as a expiration. So air moves in and out, means in our living body, the air which will be always in and out of the lungs, because intrathoracic pressure changes in relation to pressure at the airway opening. How it will be possible? Because the intrathoracic pressure it will be changes, and how it will be changes? It will be changes in relation to pressure at the airway opening. So because of this, the air which will be moves in and out, means the carbon dioxide which will be out and the oxygen which will be in with the function of our respiratory system. Then contraction of the diaphragm and intercostal and scalene muscles. So in our when these function which will be occur, means in and out process which will be occur, so in that time the diaphragm which will be contract and the intercostal and scalene muscles which will be also contracted. So it increases the chest dimension, thereby decreasing the intrathoracic pressure. So in this it will be increases the chest dimension when we will means inhale, so in that time it will be increases the chest dimension, thereby it will be decreasing the intrathoracic pressure. So because of this increasing chest dimension, it will be creating the it will be decreasing the pressure of the intrathoracic area. Then gas flow from an area of higher pressure, that is called as a atmospheric, to one of lower pressure, that is means gas flow from an area of higher pressure, that is called as atmospheric, and to one of lower pressure, that is called as intrathoracic. So this all about the physiology of the lungs. Then what equipment which will be needed when we will perform the this respiratory assessment? So we have to needed a stethoscope and a peak flow meter. And how we have means when we have to perform the this respiratory assessment, so there will be some indications, like if the patient is having the problem of breathing difficulty, or if the patient is having the problem of any respiratory disease, or if the patient is having the problem of asthmatic attack, or if the patient is having the problem of any respiratory injury, and if the patient is having the sudden obstruction in the airway, so in this time we have to perform the respiratory assessment. So in this picture you will see that surface marking of the lobes of the lungs. So here you will see that is upper lobe, this is middle lobe, this is lower lobe, and here you will see this is lower lobe, this is lower lobe, this is upper lobe, anterior upper lobe, and in this you will see upper lobe and lower lobe in left side. So in this way means the doctors they have to do the marking, and after that they have to perform the respiratory assessment. Then in this picture you will see right anterior axillary line, and this is the mid-sternal line. So this is called as a mid-sternal line, this is mid clavicular line. So in this mid clavicular line you will see this is right upper lobe, this is right middle lobe, this is right lower lobe. Here you will see this is thyroid cartilage, this is larynx, this one is called as trachea, this is suprasternal notch, this one is suprasternal notch, then this one is first rib, then this is angle of Lewis, this is left upper lobe, and this one is the left lower lobe. So this is the structure of the respiratory system. In this picture also you will see that this is the posterior this is posterior landmark. In that you will see this is the right lobe, and this is the right upper lobe, this one is scapular line, this one is scapular line. Then what positioning we have to give to the patient? So patient should sit upright on the examination table, the patient's hand should remain at their sides. So we have to give the sitting position to the patient, and if the patient is not able to sit in that time, we have to use the bed, and in that bed we have to give the patient proper comfortable position. The patient's hand should remain at their sides. When the back is examined, the patient is usually asked to move their arms forward. So when the examiner they have to perform the respiratory assessment, in that time what position we have to give to the patient? So we have to give the sitting upright position on the examination table, means in front of the patient there should be a cardiac table, and the patient's hand should remain at their side. And when the back is examined, so in that time we have to instruct the patient to move their arms which will be forward and hug themselves position, so that the scapula are not in the way of examining the upper lung field. Then next is the lighting. In lighting, adjust so that it is idle. The next one is the draping. The chest should be fully exposed. Exposure time should be minimized. So we have to not expose the patient for long term or long time. We have to always expose the patient in for short time. Then the basic steps of examination, you all know about the examination steps. That will be inspection. First one is the inspection, it means we have to observe the patient. Then second one is the palpation, we have to do the palpation, and after that we have to do the percussion, and in last we have to do the auscultation. Sorry. Then next one is the health history. So in health history we have to ask any risk factor for respiratory disease means we have to ask the patient that patient is already having any disease or any risk factors, means in their environmental factor or in their occupational factor. There will be many factors which will be risk for developing the respiratory diseases. Then next is the smoking. Smoking is also a risk factor for respiratory disease. So we have to ask the patient for pack ears and exposure to smoke, means if the patient is not doing smoking, so in that time if the patient which will be exposure to smoke, so how much time the patient which will be exposure to smoke, then history of attempt to quit and methods, then results, then sedentary lifestyle and immobilization. So we have to ask about these all things, and after that we have to ask the age of the patient. Because of age also it will be also affecting the muscles of the respiratory system, so in that time the muscles which will be not able to proper contraction and relaxation, so in that time the lungs which will be not able to do the proper functioning. The next is the environmental exposure, the person who are exposed in more dusty areas or more chemical areas, or the person who are working in the areas in which the asbestos which will be present, or the air pollution areas which will be present, so in that time also the person may be developing the chance of respiratory diseases. The next is the obesity. Obesity, it is also obesity is also called as a disease. So in obesity you will see that when the person which will be obese, so in that time the organs which will be affect the lungs, and in that time the lungs which will be not able to do their proper functioning, and because of this the person which will be not able to do the proper breathe. So in obese person you will see that the patient is having the problem of sleep apnea. Sleep apnea means during the time of sleeping the patient is not able to take the breath for, means for few second the patient's breathe which will be stop, so it will be occur because of obesity only. Then next is the family history. So in their family history, if the patient is having the problem of asthma or tuberculosis, or any other disease like means respiratory cancer or any other diseases, so it will be also affect to the family members. The next is cough. If the patient is having the problem of cough, so we have to ask the patient about the type of cough. So in type of cough, there will be many type of cough like dry cough, moist cough, wet cough, productive cough, hoarseness cough, hacking, barking, whooping cough. So we have to ask which type of cough the patient is having. So, so with the help of this, means when we will ask to the patient about the type of cough, and the patient which will be able to explaining about the type of cough, so in that time the physician which will be able to diagnose the disease. Then we have to also ask about the onset, means when the patient is having the problem of coughing during the time of morning time, in early morning or in night time, then we have to ask about the duration, means how much time the patient is having the problem of this coughing, means for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, means and the duration which will be continuous or intermittent. Then we have to ask about the pattern, means the activities and time of day, and it will be also occur because of means it will be also affected because of weather. Then next is effect on ADLS. Then next is the patient is having the problem of wheezing and associated symptoms which will be present or not, and if the person is or if the patient is taking the treatment for that cough, so that treatment which will be effective or not. So we have to ask these all things to the patient. Then next is the sputum. So in a sputum we have to ask about the amount, we have to see the color of the sputum, we have to see that the patient is having the problem of hemoptysis, means the presence of blood which will be present in the sputum. Then we have to also see the odor, consistency, and pattern of the production. Then next is past healthy history. In past healthy history, we have to ask about the respiratory infections or diseases. Means the upper respiratory infection, whether the patient is having any upper respiratory infection or any trauma, means any previous trauma which will be occur in the respiratory system, any surgery, means any surgery, it will be perform in previous time, then chronic condition of other system. Then next we have to ask about the family history. In family history we have to ask the patients or the patient's relative in that patient's family. There will be tuberculosis which will be present or not, emphysema, or any lung cancer, or allergies or asthmas which will be present in their family history or not. Then next we have to start the inspection. So in inspection we will see tracheal, means when the person is taking the breath, in that time we have to see the tracheal deviation, means the tracheal deviation can suggest of tension pneumothorax, means if the trachea which will be deviated, so in that time the patient is having the problem of tension pneumothorax. The next is the chest wall deformities. So in chest wall deformities, first one is the kyphosis. So kyphosis, it is curvature of the spine, and it will be occur in anterior posterior. Then scoliosis. Scoliosis, it is a curvature of the spine. It will be occur in the lateral area. Then next is the barrel chest. Barrel chest means chest wall which will be increased anteriorly and posteriorly, normal in children, typically of hyperinflation, which will be seen in the chronic obstructive pulmonary disease patient. Then pectus excavation and pectus carinatum, means in this way we have to see that or we have to observe in the patient that the patient is having any deformity which will be present in the patient's patient chest or not. So in inspection what we have to do, we have to do only the this inspection, or we have to do the observation, so that we will find out that the patient is having any diseases or not. So in this pectus evacuation, means it is a condition in which the breastbone which will be sinks into the chest. So in this condition it is often noticeable, but shortly after birth, and typically worsen during the adolescence, means it will be occur after the birth, and means when the person which will be in the adolescent stage, it will be increase, and it's more common in the boys, and it may be associated with the genetic or hereditary condition, and it will be also occur because of connective tissue disorder. So we have to see in the patient that the patient is having this type of abnormality uh, or not. The next is the pectus carinatum. Pectus carinatum, it is a genetic disorder. So in this genetic disorder of the chest wall, you will see that it make chest which will be jet out. So in this the this happen of because of an unusual growth of rib or breastbone, means when the sternum which will be unusual growth, and the bulging gives the chest a bird like appearance. So that's why the condition is sometimes called as a pigeon breast or pigeon chest. So we have to see in the patient that these all abnormalities which will be present in the patient or not. So in this picture you will see that is a thoracoplasty with secondary change in the spine, means because of surgery or because of thoracoplasty, that will be secondary change in the spine. Then next is the pectus excavectum, and this one that is called as a kyphosis. Then sign of respiratory distress. So in sign of respiratory distress, means when the patient is not able to take the proper breath, in that time we will see the patient is having the problem of cyanosis, means the patient which will be not getting the sufficient amount of oxygen in the blood, and because of this the patient's body which will be cyanosed, so person turns blue. So because of this the person's body which will be turns in blue. Then pursed lip breathing seen in COPD, means used to increase and expiratory pressure, means the patient which will be pursed lip breathing, it will be seen in the patient who are having the problem of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, so in which it will be used to increase end expiratory pressure, means it will be increases the end expiratory pressure. So because of this, the person which will be not able to take the proper breath. Then accessory muscle use means scalene muscles which will be used. Then diaphragmatic paradox. Diaphragmatic paradox means the diaphragm which will be moves opposite to the normal direction on inspiration, which will be which will be suspect flail segment in trauma. Then intercostal indrawing. So these all are the signs of respiratory distress. So here you will see that blue blotter showing ascites. Here you will see that the patient's abdomen which will be means which will be means inflammation in the peritoneal cavity. So in this way it will be marked as a core pulmonary. And pink puffer note that this is pursed lip breathing. It will be mainly occur in the patient who are having the problem of severe COPD. Then here you will see the patient is in this you will see that the patient it will looks like anemic. Then the patient which will be the patient's nails which will be cyanosed. Then next is the palpation. In palpation, the tactile fremitus, it is vibration felt by palpation. Means in this we have to felt the vibration by the palpation. Means with the help of palpation we have to feel the vibration. So in this how we have to perform, we have to place your open palms against the upper portion of the anterior chest. So we have to kept the or we have to open our palms which will be against the upper portion of the anterior chest, making sure that the finger do not touch the chest. Means we have to touch the chest only with the palm. We will not touch the chest with the fingers. Ask the patient to repeat the phrase 99. We have to instruct the patient to patient that the patient which will be phrase continuously 99, or another resonant phrase while you systematically move your palms over the chest. Means when the patient which will be telling 99, so in that time it will be occurring the moment. So in this way we will see the moment which will be present in the chest. So chest from the central airway to each lungs which will be periphery. You should feel vibration of equally intensity on both side of the chest. Means when the patient which will be telling 99, in that time the examiner, they will be feel vibration which will be occur equally intensity on both side of the chest. Then examine the posterior thorax in a similar manner. Means first we have to do the anterior area, then after that we have to examine the posterior thorax in a similar manner. The fremitus should be felt more strongly in the upper chest, with little or no fremitus being felt in the lower chest. So in this way we have to see the assess chest expansion in expiration left and inspiration right. So we have to see that assessing the chest expansion means the chest which will be expanded. So in expiration in left side and inspiration in right side. Then percussion over the anterior chest. So this is the picture. You all know about the means health assessment physical examination. So in physical examination there will be two types of percussion. So there will be direct percussion and indirect percussion. So here the picture that is called as a direct percussion, and this is indirect percussion. So the direct percussion of the clavicles of disease in the lung apices. Then next is the auscultation. To assess breathe sound, ask the patient to breathe in and out slowly and deeply through the mouth. So we have to assess the breathe sound. We have to assess the breathe sound of the patient, and we have to ask the patient to breathe in and out slowly and deeply through the mouth. And it will be begin at the apex of each lung and zigzag downward between intercostal space, and listen with the diaphragm portion of the stethoscopes. So we have to begin at, means we have to start from the apex of the each lung and zigzag downward between intercostal space. Then listen with diaphragm portion of the stethoscope, means up to the diaphragm we have to listen with the help of stethoscope. Then normal breathe sound, we have to means we have to record or we have to note the pitch, intensity, quality and duration. So in this dot, so it is the posterior and this is the anterior um, area in which we have to perform the this auscultation. So normal breath sound. So in normal breath sound, there will be four normal breath sound. First is the bronchial, second is the bronchovesicular, third is the vesicular, and fourth one is the diminished. So in bronchial, hard over the trachea and main stem bronchi, it will be second, fourth intercostal space. Means this bronchial sound, it will be hard over the trachea and it will be in the main stem bronchi, and second and fourth intercostal space either side of the sternum anteriorly, and third, sixth intercostal space along the vertebra posteriorly. So the sound are described as tubular and harsh, also known as a tracheal breath sound. It is also called as a tracheal breath sound. So this sound, it will be heard over the area of the trachea. The next is the bronchovesicular sound. So in bronchovesicular sound, it will be heard over the major bronchi, uh, major bronchi below the clavicular, the upper of the chest. So in this uh, chest anteriorly, then bronchovesicular sound heard over the peripheral lung, which will be denoted pathologically. And the sound are described as medium pitched, means in this it is called as a medium pitched sound. So in this you will see that the patient is mm, uh, having the medium pitched sound, and it will be continuous throughout. Means this sound, it will be continuous throughout when the uh, person is doing the inspiration and expiration. Then next one is the vesicular. So in vesicular you will see that it will be heard over the peripheral lungs. So in peripheral lungs, the patient heard over the peripheral lungs, and it will be described as soft and low pitched sound. So in this you will hear that the patient is having slow pitched sound, and in this it will be best heard on inspiration. Means when the patient is doing the inspiration, so in that time you will see that the patient is means during the time of inspiration you will heard the normal vesicular sound. Then next is the diminished sound. So in diminished sound, it will be heard with shallow breathing. Means it will be heard with shallow breathing, and normal in obese patient. Means this this diminished sound, means low sound, it will be present in the obese persons. So in this you will see that the patient is having the problem of this diminished sound and with excessive adipose tissue. Why it will be occur? Because of excessive adipose tissue, and it will be also occur because of the patient is having the problem of this and it will be also occur during the time of pregnancy. So why it will be occur? Because during the time of pregnancy, uh, the lungs which will be uh, pressed. So when the lungs which will be pressed, so in that time the patient is having the problem of this diminished sound. It can also indicate an obstructed airway, partial or total lung collapse, or chronic lung diseases. So this is the picture of the percussion. This is tactile phreatus. So estimation of the thoracic expansion. So in this we have to ask to the patient for exhalation and maximum inhalation, and we have to hold in the area of or at the end of the diaphragm. Then what about the abnormal breath sound? So the abnormal breath sound, the abnormal breath sound that is called as crackle sound. So this crackle sound that is short and it will be discontinuous. So it will be occur in the patient who are having the problem of chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases, and a non-musical sound heard mostly during inspiration. So in this time it will be high pitched, and course it will be low pitched. So in this it will be occur when the patient is having the problem of this atelectasis or pneumonia or COPD or pulmonary edema. Then next is the wheezing sound. So wheezing sound, it is also called as a abnormal lung sound. So this wheezing sound, it is continuous musical high pitched sound. It will be usually heard on expiration. Means when the patient is doing the expiration, in that time the patient is having the problem of this wheezing sound. So it will be occur when the patient is having the problem of asthma or any secretions or pulmonary edema or bronchitis or bronchitis or any foreign body which will be insert in the chest, or if the patient is having tumor. Then next is the stridor. Stridor means inspiratory musical sound. It is in this you will see that the patient is having inspiratory musical sound. It will be best heard over the trachea during the time of inspiration, and it will be occur when the patient is having the problem of partial obstruction of the larynx or the trachea. Then next is the pleural rub. So pleural rub, or it is also called as a friction rub. So in this it is a grating or cracking sound, best heard at end of the inspiration, and it will be beginning of the expiration. Means this sound when it will be occur, it will be occur means this sound, it is a cracking like sound, and it will be occur in the end of the inspiration and the beginning of the expiration. So these all about the abnormal breath sound. Then next is the tactile frematus. Ask the patient to say 99 several times in normal voice, then palpate using the ball of your hand. Then you should feel the vibration which will be transmitted through the airway to the lungs. So we have to feel the vibration when the patient which will be telling 99. In that time we have to feel the vibration which will be transmitted through the airway to the lungs. Then increased tactile frematus, it will be suggested that consolidation of the underlying tissue, underlying lung tissue. So these are the areas in which we have to perform the auscultation or sequence for examination of the chest. First that is anterior sequence, second is this one is lateral sequence, and third one is the posterior sequence. For palpation, place the palm of the hand in position design as one on the right and left side of the chest. Means in this way we have to perform this palpation. Then the sound, breath sound, sound and the description. So what is resonance sound? So in resonant sound, low pitched sound which will be heard over normal lungs. So means when we will call the resonant sound, so it will be called a low pitched sound, and it will be heard during the time of this percussion. So in this low pitched sound which will be heard over normal lungs, then hyper resonance. In hyper resonance, it will be loud, lower pitched sound. The normal resonance heard over hyper inflated lungs, such as in chronic obstructive lung diseases, and if the patient is having the problem of acute asthma. The next is the tympani. Tympani means drum like loud, empty quality heard over gas filled stomach or intestine or pneumothorax. Then dull sound means a medium intensity, pitch and duration heard over areas of the mixed solid and lungs tissue, such as over the top area of the liver partially, and it will be consolidate the lung tissue. Means if the patient is having the problem of pneumonia and or fluid filled pleural space, so in this time the sound which will be dull sound when we have to perform the this percussion. Then next is the flat sound. So flat sound, it will be soft high pitched sound, or the means short sound of short duration. It will be heard over very dense this very dense tissue where air is not present. So it is called as a flat sound. Then next is the breathing patterns. In breathing pattern, you will see there will be some condition, there will be some description, and there will be some causes. So eupnea means normal breathing rate and pattern. Then next is the tachypnea. Tachypnea means increased respiratory rate. So means what are the causes of this tachypnea? When the patient is having fever, anxiety, exercise or shock. The next is the bradypnea. In bradypnea, you will see that the patient's decreased respiratory rate. So in decreased respiratory rate, the patient is sleep. Then if the patient is taking the drugs, if the patient is having metabolic disorder or head injury or stroke. Then apnea. Apnea means absence of breathing. So it will be diseased patient. And if the patient is having head injury, means sudden, if the patient is having head injury, and it will be affecting if the nervous system which will be not able to do the proper functioning, and it will be affecting to the lungs. In that time, the lungs which will be not able to do the breathing, so the patient is having the problem of apnea. Then stroke. Then hyperapnea means normal rate but deep respiration. Means the rate which will be normal, but the deep respiration which will be occur. In this, what are the causes? It will be occur because of emotional stress, and if the patient is having the problem of diabetic ketoacidosis. Then next is the chain stroke. Chain stroke, it is gradual increased and decrease in respiration with periods of apnea. Means with apnea, the patient's uh, respiration rate which will be suddenly increase and decrease, and sometimes the patient is also having the problem of absence of breathing. So it will be occur in the patient who are having the problem of increased intracranial pressure. Means when the patient is having the problem of any type of head injury or any diseases which will be related to head. And it will be also occur when the patient is having the problem of brain stem injury. Then next is the biotes. Biotes means it is rapid deep respiration, means in the gasping situation with short pauses between sets. So it will be occur when the patient is having the problem of this spinal meningitis, many CNS causes which will be occur, then head injury. Then next is the Kussmaul syndrome. In Kussmaul syndrome, the patient is having both condition, that is tachypnea and hyperapnea. It will be occur when the patient is having renal failure, metabolic acidosis or diabetic ketoacidosis. Then next is Neustic. Neustic means it is prolonged inspiration phase with shortened expiratory phase, means the inspiration phase which will be prolonged, but the expiratory phase which will be shortened, and it will be occur when the patient is having the problem of lesions in the brain stem. So these are the breathing pattern. So in this you will see that what are the condition which will be present, and what are the diagrammatic presentation which will be present when the patient is having apnea, when the patient is having hyperapnea, euphenia and tachypnea, and what are the description, means how it will be sound, then what are the causes of this breathing pattern. So these all are about the this this all are about this respiratory assessment. So in this you will see, means we have to take a history, some indications which will be there, and after that we have to do the inspection, palpation, percussion and auscultation, and there will be some normal breath sound, and there will be some abnormal breath sound, and in this you will also see the breathing pattern. So these all are about the respiratory assessment. So thank you everyone.